My name is Nick, and welcome to my channel where I like to talk about scary stuff. And horrible movies, apparently. You clicked on the title, you saw the thumb, you know what this is. We're talking about the Forever Purge. And I'm so sorry, folks, but this is gonna be a hate review. Honestly, I never like to just sit here and shit talk a movie. I would much rather be recommending something good for you to watch tonight, but at the same time, I also feel like it is my civic duty to let you know what movies you want to stay far away from. And if you have any interest in the Forever Purge, go see it for yourself, make up your own opinion. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to feel, but for anyone out there who saw the trailer like I did and said, no thanks, it's exactly what you think it is. I plan on avoiding actual spoilers, but if you want to see this blind, well then just go watch the movie and then come back and finish the review. I'll admit, I am not the biggest Purge fan. I am not the target audience. I hated the first Purge. Hell, I hate the first Purge. Well, I hate the first Purge too, but the second Purge, Purge Anarchy, I actually watched that last night because it's the only one I kind of like, and I felt like I needed to get in the mood a little bit in order to see the Forever Purge. But election year, trash. Again, the first Purge, which they should have just called the fourth Purge. Why not just make it the fourth Purge? Like, the first couple weren't really that interesting, but the fourth Purge, that's when shit popped off. The problems really started with the third one, but the Forever Purge is now like election year on steroids. Like, really bad steroids. The concept is so good that I can see why this is still a franchise. You know, the idea of all crime being legal for 12 hours in the United States, it's very disturbing. Like, it's immediately off-putting. And I will give it credit, the franchise as a whole, for trying to have social commentary, but they keep making the same problem, and it's that they make these generic action thrillers while also trying to have this social commentary that is never fully explored, and then they never really get around to doing any of the good purging. This one manages to make the entire concept of the Purge a huge joke, in my opinion, because the Purgers who, like, don't stop, they're running around throughout the whole movie calling it the Ever After Purge, and I'm like, the movie is called The Forever Purge. Why aren't the characters actually calling it that? That sounds like at least a little bit more badass. Like, every time I heard Ever After Purge, I kept thinking of that movie with Drew Barrymore, and I kept thinking, like, what if this movie was actually just like a bunch of theater kids putting on a Snow White production, and then, like, or what is it, Cinderella or whatever, and they just have like these old school costumes and bad British accents, and then, like, or I don't know, purging. I spent a lot of time watching this movie wishing it was a different movie. I just don't get how they keep fumbling the ball. Like, I will right now give you immediate good ideas for a Purge movie. Why not just follow the Purgers? Like, people who are going out there and then, you know, getting their asses handed to them once they realize everyone else has, like, machine guns. And why are people in the Purge immediately going to murder? Like, the one thing I liked about the fourth Purge was that you saw some people just kind of like partying, like having sex outdoors. Like, I wanted to see more of that in a Purge movie, of like, what if people were just like, yeah, just doing drugs out in the open, or like, I don't know, just like stealing stuff. Why does everyone immediately like grab a clown mask and a machete? That's the biting commentary the Purge has to offer. I know, I didn't even give any plot information yet. This is seriously my Google document. This is like a few different lines. I didn't even script a video. That's not even worth it. Basically, in this one, you have this couple from Mexico, and they cross the border into Texas, where they start a new life for themselves, and then months later the Purge happens, and it never stops, and they have to survive, and that's really basically it. This movie tries to inject some interesting ideas into that setup. Like, I will say, the man in the relationship is working on this ranch where Josh Lucas's character is racist, and basically they kind of have to come together and work together once they're put in like this situation of survival. And I like the idea, I guess, of like, you know, kind of trying to slip in an anti-racist message with this like cowboy character, but the movie seems like so heavily directed towards neo-Nazis that I'm like, what is the messaging here? And I'll get to the social commentary, but as far as the story, there's an interesting through line here. This is the one, I guess, minor spoiler I would give for like plot progression, but I'm pretty sure this was in the trailer anyway, and honestly, this is not a movie loaded with plot. I honestly don't even feel like I could spoil it for you, but basically, in order to escape the Purgers, they realize they need to head back to Mexico, and I think there is an interesting idea there of, like, immigrants who come to this country, and then they're like, nope, goodbye, and I can see that working in a completely different movie, but they really just dropped the ball with everything. The characters aren't even characters. They're just pawns. They are ideas of people and talking points put into bodies. I don't even remember a single character's name. Honest, not one. Not a single character. I just saw the movie. Like I said, I feel like all of these movies have completely bungled their own concepts. In here, it's baffling to me. Like, let me throw this out there, because I feel like if we're gonna do the Purge should be, to me, like, along the lines of, like, a Final Destination or a Saw or, like, Escape Room Now, where, like, it's a movie loaded with different, like, Purge sequences of, like, people out there doing their Purge business, setting up, like, different kinds of kills and things that our protagonists have to sort of work their way through. Kind of happens in this movie. Kind of. For a movie that is so focused on disturbing violence, the violence sucks in this movie. Like, so much of it is just barely off screen. They don't even do anything interesting with kills or, say, traps or sequences. They're all basic chase scenes, fight scenes, shootouts. These are basic action thrillers that could easily star Bruce Willis and head straight to Netflix. And the jump scares. Like, oh, I actually laughed at one. I felt bad because the theater was so quiet because there was no energy from anyone watching this movie. It was not even worth seeing in theaters at all, that's for damn sure. But they're on this ranch, so a horse just walks by like it's supposed to be scary, like boom, jump scare, a horse. And I just laughed out loud. It was hilarious. Throughout the movie, there are several of these cheap jump scares where someone just, like, appears in someone's line of vision. It's, oh, boo, a jump scare. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. I'm not letting people get away with this anymore, because, like, who on earth goes to, like, walk up to their husband and then just stands there stiff as a board and just waits for them to look at them? Like, wouldn't you be like, hey honey, what's going on, let's get a beer or something? Like, it's so stupid. And as for getting around to the subject matter of it all, I mean, really, it does absolutely nothing. This movie is only concerned with starting a conversation that it has no interest in having. There's one scene that very directly comments on gun culture in America and how it's a bad thing, and the entire movie is about people having guns at the ready so they can fight the bad guys. And the people who are out doing the purging are so over the top and cartoonish, it completely takes away from the idea that your neighbor might want to kill you come purge night, or your boss or your friend or anyone. It's just like, no, everyone is clearly a psycho neo-Nazi in this world except for our protagonist. It just doesn't seem to be willing to do anything that it needs to in order to justify the themes in this film. And again, it's like, it's so interested in having an action sequence and then a jump scare and then kind of a conversation where there's social commentary. Like, there is one scene, and I think this is even in the trailer, where it feels like it was specifically written just to pass the Bechdel test. And, like, I guess barely, because you have the pregnant woman speaking to our female lead and she's like, I don't know if I want to have a baby in this world. And then our lead is like, we're in this together. And it's like, that's it, girl power. I get it, this movie really isn't for me, but I have to wonder who it actually is for. Like, I don't get this movie at all. It is so all over the place, and, like, as extreme and excessive as it is with its storytelling and subject matter, it is impressively bland in terms of entertainment value or scares and execution. It is so weak. There was one scene that I was like, this should have definitely worked as a solid jump scare, where just a random purger jumps out and, like, one of the characters just immediately shoots them. I'm like, that could have been a really effective in the moment scare. And it was like, yeah, I know, keep going. The entire movie felt like some sort of show that would be on in the middle of a theme park, you know, like at, like, Universal Studios or something. Like, not even a haunted house or, like, a haunt, like, not even a bad haunt, like a theme park show. That's what this movie felt like. As for the concept, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5, because even though this is an interesting take on what you could do with a Purge movie in terms of the idea of this story, but everything about the way that it was written is just plain horrible. As for the execution, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. I hated this movie, but like, I feel like there are plenty of people trying. You know, when I talk about execution, I know I normally talk about direction, but there are a lot of different people who work on, you know, any movie. And I think a lot of the actors are trying with what limited material they have, what non-existent material they have, but there just isn't nearly enough to make this movie even watchable. As for the entertainment value, I would give this a 0 if like I gave zeros. Like I'll give it a 1 out of 5 for entertainment value, because I honestly got to the point where I was like, I could leave, and I would still have the same exact viewing experience. And I checked my phone, there was still a half hour left. A half hour. For my personal grade, I'm going to give The Forever Purge a 1 out of 5, and I declare it the worst horror film of 2021 so far. What did you guys think of The Forever Purge? I'd like to say that I was disappointed, but I had my hopes set extremely low. I honestly don't even know why I saw this movie. I think I just wanted to confirm to myself that it was as bad as I thought it was going to be, and I hate to go into a movie with such low expectations, but if you saw my trailer reaction for the Forever Purge trailer, like, I think you know where my mindset was. I couldn't even enjoy this as a bad movie. I couldn't even enjoy it as a bad, good time at the movies. Definitely let me know what you guys thought of the Forever Purge. I would like to hear your opinions, especially if anyone did like this movie. Let me know. I think there are interesting kernels in here that just were not used properly, just not developed at all. I will say, if you made it to this part, like, I liked when the first group of purgers sort of attacked on the ranch and they were like, we're coming for you rich people. I was like, okay, that's cool. Thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it as always. I will hope to be back to you soon with a good movie to recommend. This was a bummer. I mean, it was just a bummer, but at the same time, like, if these movies are gonna happen, I'm gonna have to warn you about them. And if you want more warnings, well, hello, you can follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd. Thank you so much once again, especially if you made it to the end of this video. I wish this was funnier. I wish I had jokes. I wish I had, like, at least some fun with hating on this. This was boring, so bland, so mediocre. Okay, I'm done. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.